Welcome to the TortureCast, everybody. My name is Willie Dills, and this is the first time I've been on the TortureCast in probably 2 fucking years. It's been a long time since I've been on this show, and I started this show with people who are no longer here, and I'm very happy to be back on the show now and be doing a very special episode, and I'm really happy to have the 3 people that I have with me today. I'm going to start with Chad King. Chad King, welcome to the show. You have been the man who's kept this show going in my absence as a massive fan of the San Francisco Giants, as I am. Welcome back, buddy. And what are we talking about today? And what are you doing? What's going on with you?
Thanks, Willie. First of all, it's great that you're back. I'm glad that we could participate in your stream and you're back for an episode of TortureCast. As Willie said, he started this podcast way back in 2011. This is our 10th year, which is insane. So it's been around that long. So thanks for starting that off and taking me on as a host back then. Yeah, we're talking about a lot of saucy, meaty things today. Eric and I usually have notes to follow, and we really don't this time. We're going to be talking about the Astros cheating scandal. I won't mention the Astros fan that's on. I'll let you go ahead and introduce him. And then, of course, that's all we were going to talk about originally. But now we have this coronavirus that's absolutely hit the fan in the sports world and everything else in life, but particularly the sports world, including Major League Baseball. So, we're going to get into that.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. The sports world has been kind of thrown on its ass lately because not only is the coronavirus affecting the NBA, affecting soccer, apparently. People are getting infected there, but it's now... We've finally reached the point where we have finally suspended the Houston Astros.
Yes.
It took a
circumnavigated, but it worked.
It took a virus to get there, but yeah, the Houston Astros have been suspended for the 2020 season, and not because of cheating, but because of highly infectious diseases. Speaking of, my boy Ty Thomas, who is who is my best friend. I'm just gonna go ahead and qualify this right now. Ty is my best friend. I'm a huge Giants fan. Ty is a huge Astros fan. And when the Astros won the World Series that everybody thinks needs to be rescinded, I hugged this man, and we had a moment. And that moment is real. And it happened. And I don't want that to be taken away. So guess what? I might have a little bit of a bias because Ty is my best friend. But Ty, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
Thanks. Thank you. I'm doing great. Appreciate you guys having me here. Really excited to talk to other fans of baseball. It's been a super interesting season. I don't know. It's there's so many things like circulating, but you'll notice like in this, however long we're gonna do this, and I don't want to like hit too many points too quickly, but I'll basically be defending half of them, right? Half of their decisions. Mm-hmm. Half of their consequences. So I'm not going to be, sitting here they didn't do anything wrong. Everybody does this. They shouldn't have any repercussions. But, I do think that things have been blown out of proportion. And you made a really good point about, I've been an Astros fan for my entire life, just like you guys with the Giants. I was born with Astros onesies on, and I still wear the gear. So, to me, the Astros are more than a group of guys. And so that's kind of why I'm here. But super excited to hear some outsider perspective because right now it's just me and my mom kind of crying to each other. So it'd be good to hear some third party opinions.
Well, I will say this. I don't think that you're going to find a bunch of people attacking you on this show because as San Francisco Giants fans, we have dealt with similar situations.
What? I guess I'm not familiar.
Not similar, but in the same vein. And by the way, in the same vein, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who lived in Florida forever and was somehow the most diehard fan of the Giants I've ever met in my life. That is Eric Nathanson, 2 out hits. Welcome to the show, my friend. Good to see you again.
Oh, Willie, it's so good to see you and hear your voice. Welcome back, man.
Dude, when Eric came to San Francisco, he hung out with us, and we got him into the booth, the press box. He was so concerned about like doing everything right and being like I'm not gonna rattle the cage, I'm not gonna do anything wrong here. And then we went out drinking, and I was like, oh, this guy's a fucking crazy maniac. And he is Eric Nathanson. He has 2 out hits, and he has written a bunch of insane, awesome articles for the TortureCast, and he's really like kept the boat going. Like, the boat has been afloat, not riddled with coronavirus, because you just kind of been there, man, and you done a great job. And being a fan of the San Francisco Giants when I lived in San Francisco was very easy. I will say, living in Austin now for, I guess, 4-5 years almost now.
Wow.
It's hard to be a fan of the San Francisco Giants and keep that going in that way. It's really difficult.
Yeah.
You can't watch the games day to day. You have to seek them out, and you've been doing this your whole life. New respect, just new respect.
Yeah, it's not easy, especially you're in a different time zone, and that makes it even harder.
Yeah, and no one around you gives a shit. They're like, oh, Giants fan, especially when we were winning. Oh God, they hated us when we were winning. And I'd be like, no, let me just tell you about how good the Giants are. They'd be like, I don't give a shit. I'd be like, Buster Posey is the greatest. They don't care. But now we're all together, and we're going to talk about something that has happened to basically the sport of baseball. And that is the Astros sign-stealing scandal. Now, Ty, we're not here to pick on you. You're here.
Yeah, he's coming in down 3-1 here.
You're here for a
fine.
very specific reason, and that is that we want to hear your perspective. Because I also think, though, that as Giants fans, we have a unique perspective as well, which is that we went through the steroid scandal with Barry Bonds, right? And people wanted to tell us that the guy that we loved and looked up to and idolized day after day after day somehow wasn't worthy of our fandom, right? And that was rough. That was rough for Giants fans. He owns the home run record. And a lot of people want to tell me that he doesn't deserve it. And now a lot of people want to tell you that your team doesn't deserve a World Series trophy. And that they should, not only do they not deserve it, that they should give it back. What's your response? What's your response to that argument?
So I think to set the scene, when you come in from any perspective of any argument, especially this one, you have to look at like when you're an Astros fan, let's say you're the victim. You got to look at, all right, where is everybody else coming from? But let's lay it down in a very concrete way. So I guess the thing you have to look at is, okay, is the punishment? I'm not even going to use we, because that seems to I'm trying to stay.
You were definitely banging trash cans,
objective.
right, Ty?
I was banging trash cans. Yeah, I was banging trash cans. But so is the punishment lying on sign stealing? One of the things I'll say is I hate that it's the sign stealing scandal, even though that's what it is. Because is the punishment coming down on sign stealing, or is it on the use of electronic equipment? And then once we decide what that is, where does the punishment lie after that? And those are the 2 big things to me that always stuck out that were very odd. So one being, and I'll say this now, to me, sign stealing is not illegal. It should never be illegal. It's not against the rules. It won't ever be against the rules. if it's against the rules, it's almost lays in kind of like a card counting situation where it's like, is it provable? Are people doing it? If you have the ability to do it, why not? You know, it's kind of like just any different thing. If you can, you know, in football, if you hear the huddle of the offense and you hear that you pick up on their audibles, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to turn to your guys. You're going to tell them, hey, you hear this? Look for this. So sign stealing to me is not against the rules. Should never be against the rules. I don't know where y'all fall on that, but that was the first big thing that I kind of thought was very interesting, was that why sign stealing? Like, why is this all of a sudden now so important?
So let me give you a quick tutorial on that. Sign stealing is not inherently against baseball rules and has long been considered part of the game. This is per the New York Times, who apparently put out some article. And it is true. For the entirety of the history of baseball, there has been cheating in all sorts of forms. This is just guys trying to win games. It's very true. So, you know, sign stealing was a thing that you just did because you were trying to win. And in the, if you're talking turn of the century baseball, people were literally moving so they didn't have fences. They just had ropes where people were standing on the outside of the ropes, and if a ball was coming out and they thought it might reach them, people would move the fucking ropes in so that the ball would go into the stands and it'd be a home run. Cheating in baseball, in my opinion, has been a part of baseball for an incredibly long time.
It's as old as the sport. It's like any other game. People are going to try to find an edge. And it's funny that here we are, Giants fans, talking about the Astros stealing signs. You know, Ty mentioned it. You know, he hates that it's the sign stealing scandal. In 1951, the Giants were accused of stealing signs to help them make the incredible comeback and win the pennant against the Dodgers with the shot heard around the world. So we kind of, Willie talked all about the Bonds history, but even as Giants fans, we go way back. Yeah. Our team might have pulled off some shenanigans Bonds back in their day, right?
Yeah, so, from center field binoculars, exactly.
Right, through the box there. So it's tough for us to be judgmental of it, but I mean, Willie's right. Cheating is as old as the game, but sign stealing isn't cheating. If a guy on second base can decipher the signs and stick an arm out or rub one knee or rub two knees to give a sign to the batter about what's coming, then by all means he should be able to do that. If a base coach can see the catcher's signals and he can decipher them, they should be able to do that. I agree with that.
It's actually been, it's not even that simple. It's even been it's like people have been signed to join teams because they're really good at deciphering other team signs. That has been going on forever, right? You pick up a guy from another team that is your rival because he knows that team signs. When a guy gets on second base, they change the entirety of the catcher's signs because they know that this motherfucker on second base is trying to steal our signs. It's part of baseball. Stealing signs is part of baseball. So
and that was a big thing for me because I'm a catcher, or I was a catcher, and I played for so long that that was my initial thought.
You had to change.
Yeah, if there was a runner, exactly. If there was a runner on second, I would always call time. I'd go up to my guy, hey, let's change the signs up. And here's the thing: it's like, when you go to Sonic and they give you hey, there's 50,000 things that you can get. That's how many different signs you can give. The different signs that you can give to tell a guy, hey, this is the pitch I need you to throw, are endless. Yeah. There are probably millions of possibilities. So if you are changing your signs, or if you're not changing your signs, just change your fucking signs. But if you're changing your signs, it's not working, then I don't know what to tell you, man. Maybe this isn't the job for you. It never seemed, it always seemed so crazy to me because I never had a problem with it, because every single time I just go up to the mound, hey, we're going to do this little tricky thing, and then no one's going to know what we're doing.
So let me tell you...
That's so...
Sorry,
I was just going to say that's the amazing thing about it, because you're right. I mean, there are a million permutations of what you could do with your sign combinations. I wasn't catcher, but I often played second base and was kind of participating in that, making sure runners weren't stealing signs, that kind of stuff. Obviously we know about the trash can banging. That's one thing. And then maybe whistling and all the other stuff where there's evidence for when you watch the videos. But the big thing is that program that they ran. I mean, it was whatever, interns or video people or whoever they got to run the station, but it was Codebreaker or whatever the name of that program was. And it was very good, apparently. I mean, not foolproof, of course. And they could change signs mid-game, don't get me wrong. It was just that I think a lot of teams weren't catching on. I don't know if the garbage cans, the funny thing is that it's recorded on all of these MLB.com videos. You can go to so many different games and clearly hear the banging, right? In the postseason against Kershaw, you can clearly hear the whistling, and it corresponds to all these different pitches. But at the time, no one noticed it because it just kind of fades into the background of the noise of the game. And that's what's incredible to me, is that when someone it's like, where's Waldo? It's like when someone points it out, you're like, oh, how did I miss that? And everyone missed it. But the fact that the Codebreaker interpreted the sign, that's where I think the permutations. Again, if they changed mid-game, it would have foiled them, but no one noticed the sign stealing going on during the game, so the Codebreaker worked perfectly, or at least pretty well.
I guess my thing is, okay, so like trying to get an edge in sports has been happening forever. And I don't understand why. Like, I'll give the like general public the benefit of the doubt that they don't follow sports as much as the four of us do. But
Sure.
But getting an edge in sports has been going on forever. I read books when I was a little kid, all about all these things that these guys did, and it was glorified almost when I was a little kid. Like, oh my God, did you see what this guy did? Did you see what that guy did? Like, they figured out how to win games. This guy spiked this guy, this guy, like figured out exactly, like, so the Dodgers, when they had a really fast team that didn't hit a lot of home runs, would get the grounds crew to make a really like slow dirt mound in front of where where the guys were hitting from, because then you'd get out of the box slower. Like, this is just kind of part of like sports, is as fans, we want you to win. And then when you're a part of that organization, what is your job? Is your job to like do everything by the books, or is your job to win at all costs? Because the fans are giving you one ultimatum, which is win. Win, 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 win. I will buy tickets when you win. If you do not win, I will not buy tickets. So guess what? When you're in that position, you're going to do everything in your power to win. So
and I don't want the ability or how they did it to get blown out of proportion either, because like I just wanted to touch, because I kind of dropped it out, but I wanted to touch on, so the Codebreaker thing it was an Excel spreadsheet. There was, and he named it Codebreaker, or one of them was even something dumber. It was like, I don't know, but anyways, they're using Excel, so
it was very original.
There wasn't some crazy. Yes, and that is definitely current technology, but still in the likes of like an everyday person, it's not some crazy
Chad,
like
you could do that
Tony
with your
Stark
daughter's
thing. Like,
fucking team right now. You
you
could
could do
steal
that.
signs for your daughter's
why aren't
team.
you?
Now, by the way,
the point is they were using software program to interpret the signs, right? So clearly it was beyond a person to immediately interpret the sign. That's the whole point I'm making.
Exactly.
Is that when you're on second base and you can interpret signs, hey man, that's great. You're smart. If the base coaches can do that, that's great. But they were compiling the patterns of the pitches and then, Excel through their little macro they built or whatever it was inside could interpret those signs fairly effectively. That's all I'm saying, is that it's not a human brain that was figuring it out. It was software figuring it out. It was a camera giving the information.
They were sending the signal within like a second and a half, right?
Yeah, no, it was really quick.
Like
they had to be.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it. Because that's the reason why a guy on second base can do it, is because he taps his inner thigh and goes, hey, he said inside. Now, he can't tell you, oh, off speed or fastball. What they were apparently doing was telling them off speed or fastball.
Yeah, for the most part, it was.
So let's really break this down. So what is the information that is getting relayed to the batter? They're getting off speed or not off speed, right?
It's timing. It's timing. That's
and that's a huge. That's obviously a huge deal in baseball. But let me just say this though. That's the only thing that that's the only information you're getting, and you're getting it a split second before the pitch is thrown.
I'll take it.
Sure, you'll take
every time.
I would take it.
Okay, but let me.
I will take that over. I will take that over steroids.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Really? You think that's better than taking steroids?
Yeah, it's harder.
For your health.
Eric, I want you to weigh in on this. Do you think that getting a split second of off speed or not, or taking steroids and being really strong, which one is better? Which one is better?
Well, I would rather know what pitch is coming. I would rather know if it's a fastball or an off-speed pitch, even if I only have a split second of knowledge ahead of time, because then I have the split second to adjust. Okay, I either need to stay on my back foot and not get out in front because it's an off-speed pitch, or no, I can sit fastball and knock the crap out of the ball. Steroids, they still have to hit the ball. They don't have the added benefit of knowing timing. And as we've all talked about, we all played baseball, timing is all, hitting is all about timing, and pitching is all about disrupting that timing. And if I have a constant timing down because I'm getting information, I have a much bigger advantage than if I'm taking steroids. Now combine the two, you might hit 85 home runs, but still.
Yeah. And that actually is really interesting when it comes to the consequences as well, because what I thought was very interesting is, okay, so all of us have said like we would rather have the timing, right? Like that's the most important part. So my thing when guys are coming after the players, it's really upsetting because to me it's the don't think about a pink elephant idea, right? Like if I say don't think about a pink elephant right now, don't think about it. Don't think about it.
Damn it.
That's exactly what you're thinking about, right? So if you're a player and whoever, like, let's say I'm the random faceless man who's at fault for this whole thing, and I come up to you and I grab your shoulders and I go, hey, 1 pound is a fastball, 2 pounds is an off-speed pitch. When you're at the plate, do you think you're just going to be like, you know what? No, my morals have decided to block this out. So it's very interesting that you say that, because to me, like getting who's at fault is so important, because now everyone's at fault, and there had to be guys that they weren't taking advantage of it. They were getting the benefit from it, but they weren't taking advantage of it.
I'd like to think that I would know the limitations and that my morals would step up and say that, no, I shouldn't take that competitive advantage. I'd like to think that. But I think among us, it's hard for us to state 100% that we wouldn't take the extra added bonus if we weren't given the opportunity.
Well, I will say this. Obviously, you have AJ Hinch, who has been documented to have been throwing monitors and admonishing the players, but he admitted in his interview that he did not take the extra steps to squash this, and he takes responsibility for it, and I admire him for that. I think he's a good man and a good manager. He just didn't get through to the players. I will say, and it's not all the data in the world, I get it. There's a lot of caveats to it, but that one Astros fan, I'm sure you're familiar with it, Ty, the guy who went through, he's an Astros fan, and he went through all the audio for the 50-something games, and he had the algorithm to pull out all the bangs in those games, and then he had it assigned by game, by inning, and by player. And what was really revealing about that is, again, he said The algorithm can't detect every bang if there was some overlaying noise. It can't detect whistles. It can't detect any other audio they were doing. So obviously this is like the minimum amount they were doing. They were obviously doing more than this. But that said, as far as just bangs, there were guys like Kevin Correa and others who had up to 16% of their pitches were bangs. But you had guys like Jose Altuve, it was all the way down near 2%. And that's such a dramatic difference between specific players that's probably outside the realm of statistics, that's outside the realm of error. So I do believe there was a sense of like Correa and others probably were like, keep it coming, baby. I need it. I need this is great. This is great.
Okay.
And then you guys like have Altuve because it's so much lower than the other players. Altuve probably actually didn't want to hear the bangs.
You can't bring up Altuve without bringing up the Altuve home run because is something that so many
shirt
people
thing.
bring up.
Oh my god, dude, that is creating a scandal.
So many people bring this
I
up
buy
that
it.
we have to talk about it.
I buy it. I totally buy it. I buy into it 100%.
Okay, if we're gonna talk about this, we have to talk about the Altuve home run. Because
talk about pink elephant in the room.
So many people have talked about the Altuve home run as that is definitive proof, right? Because he wouldn't let the jersey get taken off. Now, the other thing is that the Astros stopped doing this whole thing after one specific pitcher figured it out. Do you guys remember the moment where the pitcher, it was for, was it a Rangers pitcher or somebody?
No,
was it Bolsinger?
Yeah,
because it was Bolsinger.
So he stepped off the mound and he said, "What the fuck?" And they changed their whole signs. Right? You remember this?
Yeah.
Does everybody remember this? Can anybody pull up like who this guy actually? I can't remember the actual guy, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, we all saw. Yeah.
So he stepped off and he said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Something's weird." And they changed their signs and they struck that motherfucker out, right? And then basically the bangs stopped, and that's when everybody said, "Oh, now they're going with buzzes in their uniforms," right? So, like, because the banging, they got caught. They got caught on the banging. So now Altuve hits this home run, right? Hits this home run to send the fucking Astros to the World Series against the guy who throws 100 miles an hour and has a dirty ass fucking slider, right? And this guy hits a home run. Everyone says the way he swung at it was not the way you'd swing if you were worried about a fastball. That's the
I don't
argument.
even I don't even care.
That's the argument.
Yeah,
the argument is that he was sitting back on a breaking ball because he knew it was coming, right?
I mean, hypothetically, he could have guessed it. I don't
He's
even
also
look
one
at
of the
that.
greatest hitters in the league. So he can still identify a curveball, right?
I've watched baseball long enough that I know that sometimes in an at bat you have to guess one or the other. And he guessed the one that would like hit him a home run, or if it's a fastball, foul it off. Right? That to me looked normal and okay. The argument though is that his swing looked like he teed off on it, and it was a home run because he knew it was an off-speed pitch against the guy who throws 101, and then he goes, "Don't take off my jersey," and everyone says it's because he's got a buzzer in his jersey.
So I guess my idea is that if I could show you a video of somebody at an away stadium where there's no trash banging or whatever, and it's the same pitch and it's the same home run, does that, like, do you then say, okay, well, maybe he just has that talent? Because we all know that he has that talent. He had some pretty clutch.
Is the guy who could do that. Yeah, he
had clutch home runs in the 2019 postseason that looked almost shot for his home run in 2017. So to say that he but Ty,
say that he's not throws 101 miles an hour.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of guys who do that in the major leagues.
No, there isn't a lot of guys. There's only one guy who does that. Okay.
Nah, dude. Billy Wagner.
Come on, Billy Wagner.
I'm just saying. He did tee off on that pitch.
Yeah, he did.
He put a good swing on it, but to be fair, it's funny because I hate the cheating, but to be fair, he didn't like hook it into the left field seats or anything like that.
No,
he
he
just put a
hammered
good
it. Yeah.
swing on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as
Eric
far as
is
I'm
correct.
concerned, the fact that he hit it, I don't put that beyond Altuve's ability. He's done it before, and I'm sure he's done it
Altuve
without
could do.
cheating
Yes.
before. It's something he could do. It's not beyond the realm of possibility. Clearly, if it was you or me, no, yeah, there's something wrong.
Yeah,
there.
I can't do that. I will need a little
But-
buzz on my thing. Just tell me.
Again, we're probably never gonna know unless a team reveals it 10 years from now, right? In some MLB network exclusive or something. But the fact that he hit it and Chapman obviously kind of laughed at it, almost like, how the hell did he know that was coming? And then as he's rounding third, and he's never done this on any kind of walk-off home run. He's had walk-off home runs before. He starts grabbing his jersey, closing it up and saying, no, don't do it. And then he says later, it's because I had a bad tattoo and I didn't want that to be exposed.
At first
and all
he
that
said it's
whatever
because of
stuff.
his wife. Yeah.
But come on,
He
it
did
is
say,
weird.
oh, my
It's
God.
Right,
a
first
little
the wife
weird.
and the
Yeah.
tattoo.
It's weird.
It's weird.
It was really weird. So again, it's circumstantial evidence. I get it. We've all been caught in lies, and we all kind of like change the game, and it's not really what they think we did. I understand that, but it's really weird because I tell you what, if I hit a home run, a walk-off home run to send us to the World
Yeah.
Series,
I'm
not
just
thinking
like,
about a
let's
tattoo.
go.
I'm not thinking about my wife. I'm not. I'm sorry. You could like do anything you wanted. Seriously. And so that's what's so peculiar about it. I know I semi-defended him with the 2%.
Yeah, that's what I say. There's a conflicting statistic.
At the same time, that 2% is probably a lot higher because that's all they could record. The guy got.
All right.
But again, it could have been that pink elephant thing, and maybe he got the offer for the postseason, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, whatever, I'll try."
I got to move us forward here real quick because
Yeah.
there's something very important that I want to bring up, and that is so the actual punishment.
So this is what I wanted to talk about.
Okay, so let's think about first of all, Eric, Chad, myself. Barry Bonds is the home run champion, correct?
100%.
Technically,
Barry Bonds
The
should be in the
Astros
Hall of
home
Fame,
run
right?
champion.
Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Come on, Chad. Come on.
this is where it gets sticky. Yes, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame
All right.
because of his accomplishment.
All right. That's up.
That's
All right.
that's.
Okay. So,
No.
what is the punishment that should be? Okay. So, Barry Bonds also, I think all three of us can agree, definitely did use PEDs during his baseball career.
Certainly did.
He also hit a shit ton of home runs. And if he didn't get blackballed in the last 2 years of his physical ability to play baseball, he probably could have crossed 800 home runs. Easily.
Well, he had 27 in his last year.
Yeah, his last year was an amazing year as a hitter. All right.
It was a very good year.
Now, so as punishment is concerned, the Astros punishment was this. They had a bunch of people got fired and a bunch of draft picks got pulled.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically it.
And done. And that's
$5
it. And that's all there
And
ever
then a
should
lot
be.
of other people
That is
think,
all there ever should
a
be.
lot of other people think that somehow they should pull they shouldn't have actually won. Somehow we need to pull the trophy, and then the Astros didn't actually win. Now I'm going to start with the Giants fans, and I'm going to end with the Astros fan because I want to hear his. But Chad, what do you think is an appropriate punishment for, because we can all agree that they did cheat. I
Yes.
think none of us are acting like cheating didn't happen. I think we can all agree cheating happened. Now, appropriate punishment. Do you think it was appropriate or not?
Eric and I have talked about this on the previous 1 or 2 episodes of TortureCast. We've gone over this. And number one, yes, we acknowledge they cheated. They used technology. And in 2017, the commissioner sent out a memo telling everyone to stop cheating. And that wasn't revealed until this whole investigation, right? And it was funny because in 2018, it looks like the Red Sox cheated. We still haven't heard the decision on that, right? The investigation is not done yet.
Other people,
which is really interesting.
Cheated. Yeah.
But as far as the punishment goes, the problem is, number one, I agree with you. I don't think that the World Series trophy should be taken away because you cannot give it to the Dodgers. And I'm not saying that as a Giants fan. You could be facetious and say, ha ha. You could. The problem is that they also cheated the Yankees and the Red Sox and whoever they played, right? The regular season. So you can go on and on and on. And it's like, who knows who would have made the World Series if they had not cheated. So I think that's a nebulous area you just really can't get into. Second of all, I think the players should have been punished more. Plain and simple, I think they should have been punished more. But Major League Baseball needed evidence. They needed the players to participate. So it's kind of like the, not the witness protection program, but when you want to get testimony from someone, you give them immunity, right? That's basically what Major League Baseball did. They said, we'll give you immunity if you tell us the truth. But if we catch you lying, then you will be punished. So I do believe Major League Baseball had to do that. I wish in practice they could have punished the players. Whatever. Number three, I've heard some rumblings about, okay, you couldn't find them more because the CBA, you already took away, the draft picks. And someone said, oh, you got to make them ineligible for the next 3 postseasons, 1 postseason, 5 postseasons, whatever it is. Well, how many players who were part of the cheating scandal are on the Astros now and will be on the Astros next year? Who's going to sign with the Astros if they know they can't participate in the postseason? That would eviscerate them. So it's a really hard, nut to crack, really. I don't think the punishment was enough, but I don't know what else they could have done other than maybe take away draft picks for several years is probably the only angle I would take. I do wish the players could be punished, but it's really hard to do that. But like the Barry Bonds situation, he was never technically punished by Major League Baseball. He was just ostracized and blackballed. Yeah. He didn't have extra years that he probably could have played another 2 or 3 years, and he's probably not going to make the Hall of Fame. Well, guess what? I don't think a lot of the Astros players are going to make the Hall of Fame. And I think that's their punishment. Their punishment is their legacy. Their punishment is the view of 29 of the team's fans in Major League Baseball who now hate these guys. They're vilified. They're being booed. In fact, I was really looking. A lot. I was looking forward to the start of the Major League season, which is now delayed 2 weeks, and we'll get to that later. Yeah. Because their first series was going to be in Oakland, and oh my God, it was going to be so much fun watching that. But we'll see that later. I think that's their punishment right now. It's kind of like it's not a technical punishment, but I think it's pretty good for it's a career punishment.
All right, that's fair, and I think that you made a lot of good points, and I think that like the punishment is already kind of happening, whether or not like they're being punished by MLB, they're being punished by the fucking fans. Like they are being punished, and I think that matters. That
it really does.
It does. It's not something that you need to like throw in the bin. And Eric, I'm very curious to hear what your take on this is.
Now, it's like Chad said in the past when we've talked about. We've pretty much been in lockstep on this when it comes to this. I do feel they should have been punished more. I understand that they needed somebody to turn state's evidence. I mean, we all get it. I think more just as a person, as a man, how do you go to sleep at night? How do you feel that you earned that title? How do you feel just good about yourself? I understand winning at all costs. I've tried to win at all costs. I've played everything, and I've lived my life on the edge at times. So I totally understand playing at all costs for all costs. But I don't know how they go to sleep at night, and that's just one of those punishments that's going to stick with them that we can't give them, that baseball can't give them. I think Manfred totally bailed them out by saying, the public scorn will be enough, and They will be shamed enough, and that'll be enough. But the other thing is, without concrete evidence of certain things, it's hard to suspend players. And I think that that's really what the crux of it is. And because the Major League Baseball Players Association is probably the strongest sports union in the history of American sports, they knew that they were going to fight tooth and nail for their players. So the Astros, yeah, absolutely. And that's what they're there for. And, I love that baseball has had that, history of fighting for their players, because I don't sign with ownership or commissioner's office with anything.
This kind of shit existed for people in other industries. Like I make cars. Can somebody look out for me? People look out for baseball players in an amazing way, and it's dope.
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna get punished. We all talked about it. The fan reaction,
well, they're gonna
the
get
booing.
hit by a bunch of fucking fastballs to the.
They really are, and you know what? They deserve it. They totally do.
Yeah,
They cheated their way. They cheated their way to a championship, but. There's no reason that at this point, I get why these guys were not suspended. I really do. I hate it because I do feel that some players need to be held accountable. But, it's like Carlos Beltran. What's he doing now? He already got fired.
Okay, wait, hold on. We got to stop. Now we got to stop because, okay. So, remember when the Giants had a player who got suspended for 100 games?
Yep.
They still won the World Series.
Melky Cabrera.
Yeah, Milkman.
Remember when the Giants had a guy who took steroids?
He made the All-Star team.
Yep. Took steroids forever, and
I think it was. By the way, I think it was 50 games.
763 home runs. You remember that guy?
Yeah, no, it was 50 games. He made the All-Star game, and he was eligible to make the postseason roster.
Remember when Barry Bonds hit 763 home runs?
Uh-huh. I was there for his last one. I was at
you remember that?
Oh, that's pretty
sick. Knuckleball off Russ Springer, number 73 that year. Not the last one, number 73.
Remember how we were all into that, and we loved it, and we were just like, oh, my God, hit another home run, Mr. Barry Bonds. Now, let me just say this. Baseball is full of this shit. It's not just one team. It's not when everyone just sits on their ass and goes, the Astros did this. It's just the Astros. It wasn't just the Astros.
Probably not, but then get the evidence.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
You can't just start pointing at teams randomly and go, well, they did it. They did it. It's
I'm not saying that we should just pick out random teams. I'm just saying that we should recognize what really happened. Because it wasn't just the Astros. It was also the Red Sox and clearly other teams as well. Like when we finally have computers and cameras that can do this, are we expecting baseball teams not to take advantage? Are we expecting...
we're going to see this again.
Are we expecting the people that we want to win more than anything else to not take advantage while we're paying them millions and millions of dollars? So my point is that yes, fuck the people who do this, but let's also understand where we're at.
Well, you spoke to your own point. You spoke to your own point, and then I'm curious to hear how Ty feels as an Astros fan with no players.
I know he's been waiting.
I want to shift it to him in a second, but Willie, your point really does speak to, and Chad appreciates this. I appreciate this as baseball fans. That moment that you talked about, that the two of you had when the Astros won the World Series, nothing can take that moment away from you. Yep. It doesn't matter that they cheated. none of those things matter in hindsight of the fact that you had that moment, Ty, that you had that moment of your team finally winning the World Series. As us as Giants fans, we 100% understand what that's like. You know, it was a lifetime, I don't want to say achievement because none of us swung a bat or threw a ball, but
I didn't do it. Yeah.
Right. But it was a lifetime dream to see it happen.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you can't take that moment away, you know, that really, and so what you're saying, Willie, does speak to that. So as baseball fans, I think we can recognize that as well as recognize that they did cheat in this instance, and they were the first team to figure out how to use these electric signs to their advantage.
Yeah.
And they're the first ones who got caught.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
Ty, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so no, y'all all made really good points. So the first, so I took little notes here because I'll get off track. So the first thing, because there's two really important things I really want to talk about today, because we can go back and forth on did it happen, how did it happen, here's the evidence, blah, blah, blah. But the important thing, the only real thing you can talk about now is what's the punishment, how do we look at it going forward, how do we prevent teams from doing this, blah, blah, blah. So I think the reason that the players' consequences are completely justified and that they shouldn't be punished anymore is because that's exactly why I brought up the pink elephant thing. So the thing is, you know, if I do the whole, hey, don't think of a pink elephant, and then you do, and then I'm like, well, no, I get to fucking punch you in the face. Like, that's not fair. Like, you put it into their head, right? So you have guys that, like, how do you prove that somebody was willingly doing that? Somebody was willingly taking advantage of the system. If you can prove it, let's say they knew about it, they helped set up the system, or they were putting up cameras, then 100%, yes, they should be punished. But for the players, I think it's always going to be way too hard to really prove who was a part of it and who wasn't, who was willingly taking advantage, who was just there. And what you actually brought up a really good point. What Manfred said about them being punished enough, I think is completely true and completely fair. Because we think of it as like, oh, they're going to get booed, or even with the Barry Bonds, they'll look at ostracized. But no. Josh Reddick got death threats sent to him.
No, that's inexcusable.
That was about his daughter. Like, that's something that, imagine that you fucking work at McDonald's and you miss the fries and somebody's sending you death threats. Like, to mess up, right? To mess up in your job to the point where someone's sending death threats to your daughter, like, that's more punishment than anybody ever deserves.
Yeah,
but on top of that,
people are assholes. Like
yeah,
that's the thing. People are like, you
it's
don't
just
have
part
to
of the
do
internet,
that
right?
to get death threats, because I've gotten death threats as a fucking mid-level Twitter celebrity. Like,
yeah, and that's
you know
just
what I mean?
one.
Like, that's
just
people
one
are
example.
assholes,
But
man.
let's be honest, man. McDonald's fries are like crack.
I know. If you fuck those
I'm
up,
just-
I'm going to send you.
no,
Right?
What I'm saying
Yeah.
is,
They're
like,
too soggy and
What I'm
cold.
saying is that's gonna
Things are
happen.
justified.
No, so
If you're a
and that's
baseball
one.
player, death threats happen.
That's only one specific example.
If you're
like,
I know. I was
If
just
you
making
make
the French
like a
fry.
diving catch, you will get a death threat. Dude, I've been in the fucking outfield and someone's like, "Fuck you, Grissom," and
Yeah.
you know he's talking about Marquise Grissom, the nicest person I've ever met. Anyway, like, yeah.
And the death threat
You know
thing
what
is only one instance of it. But I'm just saying, like, the backlash by the fans, everybody that, and you know, the thing that really, really bums me out, where I almost get emotional, is I think people are too stupid to realize who's at fault, who we're really, you know, who's to blame, and who we should be punishing. Like, this is a weird off-topic example, but it'll all come back together. So my wife had this friend that sent out this tweet after the Chiefs won Super Bowl, and are like, oh, they you know, great team, whatever. So sorry.
Yeah, let's not talk about
guys,
that.
Sorry, guys. But anyway, so she goes, great team, whatever. They need to change their names though because it's racist. So she was thinking about the Redskins, right? But she's tweeting this thing out, so she has no idea what she's talking about. Like, she has had the total wrong information, total wrong team. That's what people are doing now. So every single guy that steps out on that field in an Astros uniform is getting that treatment, and that's what makes it
Including the
really
new
emotional.
Players. Yeah,
The
exactly. And the
brand new
rookies
guys.
and everything
The-
else. Yep.
The guys that I watched, me and Willie watched at Round Rock Express last year, who are having to be in that lineup right now, had nothing to do with it, and they've like just struggled their entire life trying to like become this major league star and play on the Astros, and then they step out and that's what they get. So that part
also
sucks.
That also speaks though to rooting for laundry. We all root for laundry instead of players specifically. Yeah. And like, I mean, I know it sucks, but as a player, you kind of know it's coming. But I would hope as an Astros fan, because I got to tell you, that's going to be my last question for you, is how the hell how are you handling being an Astros fan in this day and age? I think I'd crawl in a hole if it was my
fucking weird, man. It's hard. It's really, really hard. Yeah.
It's annoying, right? So yeah. I'll tell you this. So being a Giants fan, being a Niners fan, being a Warriors fan recently, living in Texas, has been kind of annoying because people have been like, oh yeah, you guys always win or blah 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 or whatever. But dude, being an Astros fan right now, where like it doesn't even matter like that you won, that's not even the thing. Like it's this other thing, Well,
and the safety of the players starts to come into question too. Like there's an unwritten rule in baseball, right? You fuck up, you get thrown at, right? But there's a line that's crossed, and actually a really good example of this is was it last season when Marisnik knocked out the Angels catcher, Jonathan LaCroix? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
When he ran into him, I thought he went into the base path, whatever. But so he gets up to bat the next game against the Angels. He gets hit, right? It's fair. There's a tussle in the dugout because of it. Now, the tussle happened because they threw at his head. Like in baseball, if you fuck up, you're going to get thrown at and you deserve it. But they threw at his head. And that's what I'm worried about now, because there's a line that gets crossed when it comes to player safety. If you're going to square up numbers on some guys through spring training, whatever, like I get it, it's fair. But when it comes to like, I'm really interested to see when the regular season comes into play, because now every single pitcher that thinks that the Astros like stole their career away from them or whatever is going to be throwing at heads, and that's going to get really dirty.
All right, so let me just say real quick before we move into the other thing we're going to talk about, is that the Astros won the World Series. And that happened. They won the World Series. They hit the balls. They caught the balls.
And they did half of it, not at Minute Maid.
They won the World Series.
True.
That was not even last year. That was 2 years ago. That wasn't even last year. And then they lost last year. So, like, come on.
And look at last year. They lost every single home game.
Yeah. I think
they were just trying to throw us all off.
I think we could say that maybe they won one based on some bullshit, but all right, are we looking at the Nationals right now, or what do they do?
Don't even get me fucking started.
What do the Nationals do? Okay, so look, they deserve that. They won that. They won that fucking championship. All the people saying that we should rescind the title, that is the dumbest take I've ever heard in my life. Stop with that. If you want to talk about taking away titles, then we need to start talking about taking away titles for years and years and years, and just stop. No more of this. Like, we gotta stop.
Yeah, that is funny.
We gotta stop talking about Super Bowls and shit. Like, that's dumb.
It's funny that people think they're so important that needs to happen.
You can be mad, and you can be like, the Astros need a penalty, and I will guarantee you that I am with you. The Astros need a penalty, and they got a penalty, and they got a penalty.
They have
now. Do you think that they
one.
needed more? Fine, they needed more. Fine, but taking away titles. Now you're talking about years and years and years of sports that we need to figure out, like, when this guy was cheating and when that guy was cheating.
You
I think
can't do
Eric-
that.
I think Eric.
It's just
had-
like the-
that's why
I
it
think
should
Eric
never
had
be
a
integral.
thing to say. Yeah, he looked
Well, I
very.
was just-
Yeah.
Well, it's like the NCAA. They vacate titles, but we all know what happened. Reggie Bush won the Heisman, and then it was vacated. But we all know Reggie Bush won the Heisman.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny, though, because as an outsider, and I actually asked Ty, I want to ask you, Ty, if as an Astros fan, you would accept this as a punishment, if you would have been okay with something like your team being banned from the postseason for like a year to 3-year stretch or something like that. Would that have been like excessive? I mean, because it would then prevent free agents from wanting to come to the Astros and things like that. So would that have been an excessive punishment or over the top for MLB to do? Because like the NCAA is an idiot. We've all seen it with everything that they do. But, like, because vacating titles is ridiculous. We agree. It's just not something you can do. We all saw what happened. But like if they had like said, Astros could win their division, but they can't qualify for the playoffs for the next 2 years. Like, would you have been outraged as an Astros fan?
That's stupid. That's stupid.
No, well, no, it's fair. Only if it's an either or situation, right? If it was either let's say even 3. 3 is a little excessive, but like 2.
Right.
Okay, so 2 seasons, no postseason. Okay, but that's it. Or we suspend the 2 most important guys in your clubhouse for an entire year. You get to pick one. Like, you have to understand what really happened was that their 2 main guys were suspended, and they were just suspended. They weren't forced to leave. Crane decided, so we're going to flip a switch. We're going to fire these guys. Like, you have to understand that was the Astros' decision to let go of those guys. And then they took it an extra step and said, we're going to hire possibly the best post-scandal coach in the history of ever, Dusty Baker. Like, that was the best
by the
move
way,
ever.
they have Dusty Baker now.
Cleanest guy in the
fucking
world.
Legend for
Amazing.
the Giants. Okay,
I know, right?
I think honestly, the best thing to do is kind of what they did, but they should have gone a little farther. Like fucking you for the next 10 years by just being like, you don't get your top pick for the next 10 years. Like, just being okay, you cheated, so we're not taking the number 1 pick or the number 1, 2 or whatever. Just being like, whatever your top pick is for the next 5 years, that goes to some other team, and it goes to another team that
Like some team they beat in the playoffs one of these years, like the
playoffs.
Yankees get one, the Red Sox
because
get
honestly,
one.
and when I
Oprah
looked at,
style on the
but I
World Series
honestly,
trophies.
okay, but I honestly think that's stupid anyway, because I think you guys did get fucked. I think the Astros got fucked. Like, I think taking away your entire front office and taking away multiple picks.
The picks was tough
that's
too.
a pretty good.
That's
punishment.
pretty good.
It's a pretty
Yeah,
good
I
punishment.
don't think they got fucked.
I don't think really.
I
you
don't.
think- yeah. Okay. So Chad, what do you think they should have had? Because I think I think that's gonna fuck the Astros for a while. Like,
Yeah, no, it definitely will. I don't think it went far enough. We already talked about the potential punishments, and I don't want them to have the championship vacated. We can't do those kinds of things. It's stupid. The draft picks, I think they could have gone a little bit further if they couldn't do player suspensions. I don't agree with postseason ineligibility because of all the new players that are coming aboard and the free agents that will come there.
With
But
the regular
I
season
will
and
say
shit.
this, and I'm sorry, I don't have the link in front of me. The number, and it's not like 100 people, but a dozen, 6 players, 12 players, 18 players, whatever, who were called up, who got hammered by the Astros with the data that support that they had lots of bangs and knowledge of pitches coming, and they were immediately sent down and never got back to the majors again or got cut and they're out of baseball. Those are the guys that got screwed by this personally, and that's what really hurts. And I mean, you're a veteran, you get bombed by the Astros, you're fine. You're going to get another contract. There are players that are still in the major leagues that have been quoted saying, I would have had a better deal if it wasn't for that one time I went in and pitched a third of an inning and gave up 600 runs and it inflated my ERA.
You're talking about the relief pitchers who
Yeah,
came in.
but some of them are
Yeah,
the
but that's the
borderline
case.
guys
That is a
who
case by
don't,
case.
But,
never
okay.
made it or whatever.
But
But
here's
there's
the thing
guys
about
who
that,
made
though.
it but
That's
didn't get enough money.
That's a fair point, but now you're having to like get some guy to look at it and go, when did some banging happen when this guy was pitching?
Well, no,
Like,
they have
that's a lot of shit to look into,
stats.
you know?
But
Well, so do you guys know about the
Because
pitchers
there are
that's suing
some
them?
guys who are like bitching about like their career got destroyed and no banging happened and they just got hammered by the Astros.
But some of them had lots
Sure.
of banging.
Okay,
Doing a
sure.
good-
Yes,
So,
some of
okay,
them.
yeah. So hire a guy to go through the fucking tape, find the guys who got fucked. But now what do you do? You just go like,
I'm not saying there's anything to
Yeah.
do. I'm
No.
just pointing out the fact that
It is a
some guys'
bummer.
that is
careers.
a bummer. And I think what you
clearly
need to do
affected
is
by
you need to punish the hitters for sure as well. Like, I think you're right. I think you need to like figure out a way to punish those guys because they were the hitters against that guy.
You're not going to punish the hitters individually. That's the whole problem. So
Yeah.
the
But
circumstances.
you should.
Collateral
Each
damage
guy
happen-
should pay like $20K or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
So, Chad, to
maybe.
your point, like one of the interesting things, because you do bring up a really good point, is that, and it's unfortunate, not for the Astros, not for everybody else, just for humanity, that for every one guy that actually happened to, there's 10 guys that are going to claim that happened to them and it didn't. So, like one of the only pitchers that is actually suing the Astros.
so you need to
agree with that.
prove it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike
one of-
Bollinger or whatever.
Yeah, Bolsinger or whatever.
Yeah.
He is suing the Astros, and his expected opponent batting average coming into that game that he quotes was like the end of his career was 560.
Yeah.
Like his
Yeah.
career
he
was
already sucked.
way
Yeah,
over.
yeah, yeah.
It was
I'm
way
not
over.
saying every
Now
single
he's suing them.
reliever, was victimized.
No.
But
But
I'm
I'm just
sure
saying
it
it's
affect-
unfortunate.
I'm sure it
It's
affected
fortunate
a
that there's
reliever's-
both sides. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it affected a reliever's career. At least
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
But that's what you
Like all the
notice.
people going for toilet paper right now.
Yeah, right. That's what you notice that all the guys that are stepping up
Okay,
first
wait,
and speaking
all
out
right.
first
Bought
are not
two
on the
pack- I
team
bought 2
anymore.
packs today.
Let's move on. This is the end. We're done. We're done talking about the Astros, and let's talk about
right.
COVID-19 and how it affects sports and baseball. Okay, so
Oh wait, okay. I did have one thing just to close because
okay,
it's interesting.
yeah, sure.
I have a question for you guys because y'all had questions for me because it's interesting to me. So
That's fair.
hypothetically, Astros come out 2020, they win the World Series. Do you respect them more or do you hate them more?
For me, I
Honestly-
respect the season. I definitely don't respect him more, and I don't respect him less. I respect the season. It's like individualized, right? It's compartmentalized because there's so many new players this year. So I don't respect them anymore. Don't respect him any less. Just if there's no evidence of cheating, I go, okay, they won fair and square.
Cool.
I don't know if that's tough to answer because I'm a guy who really hates hypotheticals, and I know that 6 months, 7 months from now, I could feel something different about the whole thing, or about certain players, individuals, coaches, whatever, and so that could change my perspective on things. So I'd like to think like Chad said, this particular team would have my respect, but in the context of the cheating scandal, it would not I would not feel that they vindicated themselves.
No, not at all.
I really wouldn't.
No,
There's
but
no vindication.
Right.
I guess the fear of an Astros fan now, because you did ask, like, what is it like being an Astros fan now? The fear of an Astros fan now is we come out, we do it, and we think, oh my God, we were under the scrutiny. We were under watch, we were under investigation. We did it anyways, and now people hate us more. And like that's the fear. The fear is not the repercussions. The fear is that any amount of success is going to seem void for probably 10 years.
Okay, so are you?
That was
do you
definitely the
think-
Warriors' experience.
Well, do you
Yeah.
think your team is going to succeed this year still? Do you think
No.
talent will carry the day, or do you think they will fall apart under the pressure of what's going on?
I think they will make the playoffs,
I've
and
looked at the
they'll.
Astros team
that's
this
it.
year, and they're not going to do shit. So
They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. I know that
I
Willie
agree with
did.
Willie.
Willie did go to one or two, but we went to a lot of those express games. I followed a lot of those guys all the way down to the Hooks, and they have a
they got a
organization.
chance. They got a chance,
Deep.
but they're
this year, maybe not. 2 years from now,
the
maybe
Astros
They're deep.
they're not doing it this year. But
maybe not this
here's
year.
the thing: it'll behoove the Astros to not win this year.
That's what I was thinking.
exactly
that's
right.
Yeah.
Are we going to be better off if we
I think
tank?
so. I think that would be
This is
good.
Give
Yeah.
them,
Like, should we take
a
our
couple
own
years
punishment?
and then win again? Yeah.
I think if you're Dusty Baker, you say, let's take our own punishment.
By
Let's
the
get this
way,
done with.
you
Everybody
guys
has to
have
bat
Dusty
opposite handed.
Baker. You guys have Dusty
Opposite.
Baker, which I love, and I love that.
Yeah,
And it's so
That is
good.
pretty amazing.
Dusty Baker
He's a great guy.
is one of my favorite people of all time. And
Perfect post scandal coach.
Yeah. And he's
But anyways, we
gonna-
can move on.
yeah.
That was it.
All right.
I just wanted to ask about that question.
All right. So to finish this off, we're going to talk about the COVID-19, aka the coronavirus. And now all of this shit is turned off. So we don't even have goddamn sports for the
Where's my
next-
sports? Where's my sports?
Dude,
Yeah.
what the fuck
Yeah.
is going on, man?
Yeah, but let's talk about this real quick. So my personal opinion is that this is the correct decision to be made by the general populace.
100%.
Like let's either have like 5 years of the COVID virus or let's nip this in the bud. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
that's my opinion.
Has anyone listened to the
A lot of people are
the Joe Rogan
bitching.
with
Yes.
What's that
guy's
guy's
name?
name? Michael
I saw that whole
Osterholm?
thing. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But a lot of people
Very
are bitching
interesting.
and moaning like, "Oh my god, I'm not getting my baseball, and I'm not getting my basketball, and I'm not getting my hockey." And I'm sorry, like that's real sad for you.
So what
But-
sports are left? What can you still play?
No sports.
Curling. No curling.
No
There's no
sports are
contact, I don't
left.
think.
This is the point. No sports are left.
Yeah.
So-
yeah, there's no sports left, and that's
Or to
that's
basketball, but
by
maybe.
design. That's by design. It's like, hey, we got to stop getting together in a place where there's 18,000 people because that's dumb. Because there's a giant fucking like problem.
So what if
Well,
there was a no live bands option?
just
like
get
fans
them
out
out of
there.
here. Just stop. Just stop.
What if it was
doing
all
what we're doing.
streamed?
And if we can
Sucks.
stop for like a couple weeks, maybe we aren't going to be all sick in like a month.
So most rational people understand the data. I'm, as you know, Willie and Eric, I'm a marine biologist. I'm a scientist. I love data. I love information. I know people have been saying for a couple of weeks, the media is blowing this all out of proportion. It's just the flu. This is ridiculous or whatever. And, the media doesn't necessarily influence me because I really do dive into the data. I'm not kidding. I downloaded my own CDC, WHO, NIH statistics and overlaid the models of this viral outbreak and looked at epidemiologist models and the whole thing. And it's real. This is real. This is the first time this has happened in our generation. And for people to say that this is just the flu, it may be just the flu for you, but it's 10 to 30 times as deadly for the population and certainly for elderly than the flu. So it's like they said, okay, 30,000 people died of the flu in the U.S. in 2018, and only 35 people have died so far. That's comparing a bonfire to the matchstick. But the matchstick, which is lit, is sitting above a very large dumpster full of flammable fuel.
Yeah.
We're trying to prevent that match dropping into that
Yes.
dumpster. That's exactly the point. And people don't understand that. We have to limit human interaction and contact. And it sucks. Look, my daughter's softball season was canceled. My son's school was canceled today, right? Monterey Bay Aquarium, where I do the feeding shows, was shut down for 2 weeks minimum today. Disneyland was closed today.
Sucks.
NCAA tournament today. MLB today. People who are saying this is a conspiracy or a hoax or it's not a big deal, these organizations and travel agencies and Google and these businesses and all the sports teams, they're not going to be canceling all these things because of the media or because they're overreacting.
Yeah.
This is real. They realize that the circumstances of letting things go as normal will be worse than canceling stuff for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And that's the point. That's the point. And so I really hope that America gets that point. Yeah, let's not get sick. Let's not transmit this,
guys.
especially to our elders and the immunodepressed. You and I and all of us on this podcast will be fine if we get it. It'll be like the flu.
Every single one of us, all the four of us, we're going to be fine.
So I work in at-home solar sales, so I'm fucking terrified.
If we get sick,
I'm in random strangers' homes every single day.
No,
oh wow!
But Ty, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Unless you have COPD or something.
The point isn't that you'll be fine. The point is,
where are my sports?
That you're gonna infect other people if you keep going out in the world.
So the biggest thing that on that Joe Rogan podcast he talked about, or the biggest why it's been so dangerous and fast spreading, is the incubation period. I guess you're infectious for 4 days, but you're not showing any symptoms, and that's why Rudy Gobert was already
like 20
giving
days.
it to everybody way before he even was touching
He's
microphones.
Rudy Gobert was touching
He was doing that
mic.
before he was touching microphones.
It was
so
so
I know,
good.
4 days of
and he's the fucking poster child now for what you need to not be, which is just not be an idiot.
Don't be an asshole.
Just fucking understand that this is an actual thing. It is a thing, and your grandparents are gonna die if you don't take this seriously.
My grandparents are all
take
dead.
it seriously. Just take it seriously, Eric.
I'm sorry.
So the question is, do the Warriors come back as a team that knows how to play basketball?
Suck for at least the next 3 years.
6-time NBA Finals, because there's not going to be finals this year.
There will not be a finals. Yeah.
No, I guess
yes.
There is serious conversation to be had about what. So if this goes on long enough, I don't think you can get away with it in basketball or football. Baseball, you probably can.
Yeah, baseball
because it's not a contact sport.
Yeah, you don't rub up against each other in baseball.
Do you have only televised games where people can't come to the stadium? Is that a thing? I'm pretty sure it's been done in the past, hasn't it? I've watched a game actually.
Here's
I know
the
this.
thing, you guys
why.
gotta understand though that
it's called freshman basketball.
No.
Did you say the WNBA?
But
that's rude. Man.
If we do what we're doing right now, which is stop fucking getting together in giant fucking groups of 20,000 people.
Yeah.
The virus might just end in 2 weeks. But I think
the Astros should still be allowed to play because no one's going to come.
But if we don't do that, the virus might continue for years and years and years. And next thing you know, we have a new flu virus that kills 4% of the people. And that's the thing we're trying to prevent. We're trying to prevent that from happening. We got to stop it. We got to stop it now.
We're lucky as baseball fans because the sport we cover, the sport we love, the sport we invest our time and our sweat and our energy into hasn't started yet. So unlike basketball and hockey, they have to suspend their season in the middle. They have to make all these contingencies about playoffs. Baseball at least has the luxury of just maybe chopping off a month of the season, playing 140 games or something like that.
We're probably okay.
playing a month with no fans. Yeah.
Right. Well, I don't think they'll do that. I just don't. I don't think that. I think teams will tell them that they don't want to play. I think players will tell the team. Stars will say, "I'm not playing."
No, it makes sense. That makes sense.
But the reality is, just stop. Just stop showing up at places where a lot of people are.
Right.
Just stop. Just stop doing that.
Like canceling South by Southwest was a great idea.
A little while.
Oh, absolutely.
Good.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Just stop going to places where there's gonna be like 10,000 people. Just stop. It's okay.
And stop thinking you're such a badass that it's not gonna affect you.
And we can do that. Like we can do that. Like you and me, like all the four of us. None of us are gonna die if we get infected. None of us. Not a single one of us. Chad, you're not gonna die. You're the closest, though. You're
Oh my God.
You're the closest.
No,
yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Is that the important point is that you just don't go anywhere for a little while.
Yeah.
If we all stop going places, maybe we just nip this shit in the bud, and then it's.
Are you able to stay at home?
Or we could all pretend like it's not a thing, and we could just go out and just go to the bar and whatever, and everyone could get sick, and then it'll suck, and then a lot of people will die.
I'm self-quarantining. We're not doing it like under the guise of self-quarantine, but we're pretty much doing
Bud Lights and smoke some cigarettes.
That's literally what I'm doing tonight, man. I'm letting it all out. Tonight's my night.
Yeah.
So it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough for me right now because they are like, my job has basically said like, oh, everything is, all the bad stuff is happening with a bunch of people in big groups. You're in basically 1-on-2, the three people in the home. You and the husband and the wife, or the husband and the husband, whatever. Usually only 3 people, so you're fine. Keep going to people's homes
the American
with their children.
Healthcare sucks because you should be able to like go out and just be like, but I've also been tested. But I. How much would it cost you to get tested right now? Do you want to go get tested? Yeah.
That's according to Katie. I think according to Katie Porter, it's like $1,300.
Well, that's why we don't know the real numbers, by the way, because we don't have enough tests and it's too expensive.
I work as a bartender, and I'd like to get tested, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a brave new world. I mean, we've never experienced anything like this. I was talking to our parking guy in the garage. He's 66, and he's like, "This is crazy. I've never seen this in my life." And it's true. I mean, we've never, the NCAA tournament was started in 1939. It's never been canceled. This is the first year, right? MLB has been canceled by a strike, NFL, those kinds of things, but not all of these sports at once. We might not see. Had one. Yeah, that's right. And so we might see all of these sports canceled for, several months. The problem is that, they're doing the right thing about canceling or suspending these seasons. And they go, we're going to suspend it for 2 weeks. We're going to suspend it indefinitely. We're going to suspend it for 30 days. The reality is, because the incubation period of this disease is, up to 14 days, we know that 2 weeks is not enough, clearly. And China has been able to cut down on the number of infections per day with really draconian measures that will never occur in the United States, where they have 11 million people in the Wuhan province being sequestered into their homes, and they have drones flying and telling grandmas with masks to get back into their apartments or they're going to be arrested. That's never going to happen here. So the problem is that even though we're arresting or reducing the transmission with what we're doing right now, which is great, there's still going to be plenty of Americans that are going to be going out, doing their thing, going to meetings, going to church, going to wherever, and there's still going to be transmission. So it's going to be interesting to see over the next 2 to 4 weeks how that spike flattens out or spikes, because we're matching Italy's curve, and Italy is under an unbelievable pressure right now. Their hospitals are in triage. They're deciding who lives, who dies. COVID positive healthcare workers are still working. If they're physically able. They just put them with the COVID positive patients because they're not going to affect anyone. I mean, that's where they are right now. So hopefully the U.S. won't be there in a though. But
no, well, I heard though.
This is crazy.
That's so.
It is.
So Italy has 1,000 deaths, and I've heard that we are 2 weeks behind. 2 weeks.
And so
behind.
that's where we need to quell this, right? Because our hospitals, not all across the U.S., but certainly in specific cities and counties, will be overrun. I live in Santa Clara County. That is the most infected county in California and the second most infected county in the U.S. behind that one in New York, right? Where that attorney brought the disease to.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just like they're all coming. It's all coming. Like
So
and you damn Californians keep moving to Austin, bringing your shit with you.
Oh, dude. There's already.
Well, you guys are liberal too.
There's
so
already
whatever.
20 cases.
I grew up in College
San
Station,
Antonio.
Texas.
San Antonio has 20 cases already, and the shit is coming. Like the shit is coming.
There's a case from the Air Force.
No, it's not going down.
It's coming. It doesn't matter like where you came from, what you did. Like shit is coming, dude.
Yep.
Yeah. It's gross, and it's gonna be gross.
Anyway.
And you're
that's why I'm happy. I live on a pecan farm in the middle of nowhere, so I mean, it's the best time.
By the way, I wanted to bring this up before we end. So obviously we have a Giants podcast, and that's what we're tying into here tonight. I had a friend at the Super Bowl who gave me this newsletter. It's dated October 5th. My eyesight's so bad. 1958. It's an original newsletter. This is called Giants Jottings. It's from the first year the Giants were in San Francisco. So this is essentially the first physical blog that you can imagine. And here it is in cellophane.
What?
It's so cool. It's like in perfect condition. And I have like
name on it too.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, Giants first season makes history. And there it is, Giants Jottings. And so this is an original thing. Here's the back. There's some of the original Giants.
Wow.
Yeah, this is really, really cool. So anyway, I'm going to take some pictures of this. And we have the original addressee here, by the way, from 1958. But I'm going to take some pictures of the entire newsletter and post it on our site, TortureCast.com. Because that's like...
how the 49ers...
Before there were blogs, this is what they did, right?
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
Amazing.
And somebody just gave that to you?
Yeah, someone just gave it to me.
Wow.
He's like, you do a Giants podcast, right? And I was like, yeah. He's an old college friend. And he's like, oh, my neighbor had this. And, he found it in his, we're moving out. And he just gave it to me. And I'm like, I'm an A's fan. I don't care. Oh, I know a Giants fan. He does a podcast. And so he gave it to me. Yeah. Really
so cool.
Can we talk about how the 49ers got completely shafted in the World Series? Or the Super Bowl? Sorry.
No. Eric and I already covered that. It's okay.
They got beat.
Whatever.
No,
so it was really funny because my wife
is
a Chiefs fan.
I got videos.
You got videos?
Oh, no.
Oh, God. Yeah, my wife is a Chiefs fan, so we had Willie over for the Super Bowl, and it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was good.
That's not good at all.
Willie was very...
Dude, I was good.
Good.
Yeah, it was fun.
He was happy that they were there, and we had a good time, and it was great. Yeah.
I mean, it sucked that we lost, but...
Yeah, I was at Willie's place in San Francisco during the 2014 World Series against Kansas City. What was it, Game 5, where they came back from like 4 runs down or whatever? I mean, that was like so cool.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, that was kind of how I felt about the World Series this year. It's like, does it suck that you lost? Yes, but it is technically the second best option. So whatever. Like, we were there.
But it's always hard when you lose with a 10-point lead with 7 minutes left.
Well, yes.
And a 3rd and 15.
That is different, yeah.
They really, that was bad.
Well, it sucks when When you're an
Put some
Astros fan.
banging going on.
That's what I'm saying. Well, so do you know what happened in the World Series this year? Is we put all of our trash cans on mute accidentally. That's why we didn't win any home games. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah, they used
Makes
a different. It was like a different type of trash can, so it didn't work.
Yeah, no.
They were using the big Rubbermaid 32 gallons instead.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man,
I know. So bad.
it'll be interesting to see. I feel like Astros fans have a really good sense of humor. So
God, I hope so, man. I'd be in a hole. I'm not kidding you. We do this podcast. We love the Giants. We really do. But I if it was my team, I don't think I could keep doing the podcast. I really don't.
I'm thinking about starting an Astros one just because fuck them.
Wait, what do you mean? You wouldn't be able to do it?
What? No, if the Astros, if the Giants did what the Astros did,
yeah.
I think I'd check out. I'd be hard for me to root for my team anymore.
And that's why I say the Astros are always going to be more than one group of guys, and a lot of those guys are gone anyways, and they can, you notice that every single guy that's not with the Astros is super willing to speak up because they're not getting the repercussions. But it's more than a group of guys, and so I think for me, it's like I'm never gonna stop, but it is very emotionally like it makes you sad. Like it makes you sad. Like I think that's the one thing if I could
it's not
get
your
out
fault,
in the universe is like us Astros fans, we're not going like, oh fuck you guys, like we deserved it. They don't need to be punished. Like we're all going like, oh this sucks. Like I didn't do it. I didn't tell him to do it. Like,
I was concerned, but I knew. I was like, okay, we're going to kind of shit on him a little bit, but not
Ty's been good.
Yeah, but I was like,
But
we're going to this is why I wanted you here, because I was like, okay, so, yeah, so.
The only way to get emotionally like that, though, is to believe that they did something wrong. If I didn't believe they did something wrong, I wouldn't give a shit.
That, like,
but I do know that they did something wrong.
Me and Eric and me, like we were here. Like we had stuff. You know what I mean? Like we had stuff in our like people shit on the Giants for a long time.
Well, that's the difference with him. As an Astros fan, Ty, I think you would. That's why I think if it was my team and the only championship they won was tainted like that, I would be crushed.
Oh, I'm devastated.
2005 doesn't mean shit. And I grew up in Chicago. I was in Chicago when the White Sox won that.
Son of a bitch.
Right. So I was literally on the couch. I was on the couch with White Sox fans rooting for the White Sox. I'm not going to lie.
This is going to depress you, but I was 10 years old, and that was like Brad Osmus is my hero. Like in my eyes, he can do no wrong.
Makes sense.
Wait, you were born in 1995?
Yes, I was.
Oh boy.
So yeah, I've gotten to see 2 World Series. One of them where we got destroyed, and then one where we cheated.
We had that happen as Giants fans. We got destroyed in '89.
Yeah,
and then we had 2002, which was just not
only that, we had '97. Yeah. We had a lot.
But not World Series. Yeah, but not
2003 against the Marlins with the throw out at home plate.
97 was a hard thing, man.
It was a rough one.
97 was a hard thing. When we had that was a ridiculous, like, I thought we had it, 89, shit. Yeah.
They got smoked by a better team in '89.
No. Look, the A's were
89 sucked, man.
Despite the earthquake. So October 7th.
I thought we were the better team in '89.
I am 15 years old, and I'm sitting under my
89, 93, 97, 2002.
Wait, Chad. How old does that make you when Ty was born? 45. You were when Ty was born.
Ty doesn't remember any of this.
Wait, so he was born in 1995.
Doesn't remember any of this.
I was born in 1973, so that makes me 21 or 22. Oh,
yeah, you are getting old, man. 37. The
numbers
are 37.
I graduated college in 1995. So there you go. That's
I graduated my mom's vagina.
I graduated high school in '98.
I
You
feel
both faced the new world.
I mean,
Yeah.
what am I gonna say?
It's
Whatever.
fine. It's like Ty doesn't
Jamie,
remember.
I don't know.
Ty doesn't
You know.
remember Nolan Ryan. That's the thing, though.
Oh,
Not as a young person. I remember him as like this guy. Oh,
I remember Nolan Ryan.
yeah.
Ty
I
doesn't.
saw
Yeah.
him at Oakland Coliseum.
If you're
Yeah.
talking,
I remember
if you're
Roger
talking
Clemens
Astros,
and Andy Pettit.
If you're
Billy
talking
Wagner.
Astros, it's Nolan Ryan, baby.
So I went to an appointment recently. I told you I work for a solar company, and they just send me appointments. I work on call, and they just send like the name and the address, right? And I get an appointment the other day, and the name was Randy Johnson. And I go, there's like a 1 in a million chance that this is the Randy Johnson, but if it is, like this is going to be the greatest moment of my life. It wasn't. It was a fat old guy.
I
But
mean, he played for
the point is,
He
that
for the
I
Astros
still
when he was
remember.
3 years old.
He lives in Arizona. I know this.
You never
I
know.
know this because he played for the Giants, and I interviewed him. Chad, you probably did too.
What?
Yeah.
Did you interview Randy Johnson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dang.
Remember?
Did you like have to hold your arm up like as high as possible? I mean,
He was sitting down.
you're
at the
standing
time.
there like this, like, hey, Randy.
By the way, Chad, do you know who is a player for the Texas Rangers right now?
There's a lot of them, though.
Hunter Pence.
No.
No.
Oh,
He's
No.
on the Giants.
I know.
No.
I'm just kidding.
He plays
know,
for the
right.
Giants.
You see us all react.
No, I
right.
fucking player.
All right.
Well,
Chad,
whatever. He was an
Chad,
original
He
Astro.
used to play-
No.
He used to play third base for the Giants, and he was really young
third
and
base,
sexy.
Giants.
It's not
What?
based
Miguel-
on police.
Miguel
He was
Tejada.
really young and sexy, white guy.
Who's
We
Miguel
interviewed
Tejada?
him, and we all talked about how good he looked.
What?
Oh
Who
my
the hell-
god.
How many?
You
what,
have
what
me
year-
totally confused.
He plays
year
for
you
the
go back to?
Rangers. He plays for the Rangers now.
Todd Frazier.
No, never a Giant. Connor Gillespie? I mean, what the?
You have
Who
me
the-
questioning my sanity. What? Who?
Who else has started at third base for the Giants? Casey McGee?
You're gonna be really annoyed when I tell you.
Yeah, probably. Well, this new management, it's a revolving door. So yeah, probably.
Oh, are you talking about the coach for the Rangers?
What, Bannister?
No, I'm talking about. God, wait, does he not play for the Rangers?
Oh,
Shit.
here it comes the doubt. The doubt's
I just
creeping in.
what I'm using my Google. I googled it, and do y'all remember David Carter Anderson? I guess he coaches for the Rangers. He used to play for the
Yeah,
Giants.
no, that's
No, never heard of him.
Well, he was played for the Giants for 2 years. So, are you really a Giants fan or are you not? Like, I thought.
No, I'm gonna call David Carter Anderson and apologize personally.
It's kind of like
Forgot about his career.
Dude, there was this really funny. So one of the greatest things about being an Astros fan in this day and age is, for me at least, I got to like the commentators were who I grew up with. Like I'm finally getting to that age where the commentators now were my heroes when I was a kid. So I'm getting to listen to like Jeff Bagwell and Jeff Blum and all them, and they were having like an argument about like if Brad Ausmus and AJ Hinch, like which one of them would you put up in the plate in the clutch spot, because they were such terrible hitters that they're like, which one would you have to put up?
Yo, I got it. By the way, I got it. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that was that. I was just saying it's really funny. Like when you finally get that age where you start to see the guys that you kind of idolize as players, either like coaches and their commentators and stuff, and like all the guys coming in are younger than you. That's what bums me out. Like Yordan Alvarez is younger than I am. I should just give up.
That bums you out, man.
Yeah.
Fernando
Yeah,
Rodney's
you
the only
understand
guy
we're
in
all
baseball
old as
older
fuck.
than me. I'm 40.
I was relying on Bartolo Colon. He was the only guy older than me.
Dude, he was.
And
All right.
now he's been out of baseball
You know
for more
who's
than a
playing
year.
third
So I'm
base?
done. I'm done.
Third base for the Texas Rangers, Matt Duffy.
No.
Oh my God, I knew it. How did I not know that? I knew it because he just came over. They just played him
Yeah, he
last
just
week.
came over from the Rays. Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Interesting.
Matt.
Well, I may have to go over to
We-
your
what-
Rangers.
So
All right, wait.
Willie and I did interview him, and I remember when we went to him, everybody was going
See how handsome
to,
this guy is.
Yeah.
the
interviewing. Who were they?
stars of the
interviewing that
game.
night? Yeah.
And then he's like, "Wait, you want to talk to me?" We're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah."
Chad goes over and goes, "Hey, how was that game?" And he's like, "What? I don't know where you're talking to me." And literally across the the goddamn room is, I don't know what, who was on the other side? It was,
Oh, I don't know who the star of the night was, but it was someone important, and we just went to him because it was like he had one
It was
piece
like-
hit to drive it on.
we
It's
just
like,
went to
oh,
Matt
we'll talk to
Duffy,
him.
like, hey, what's up, buddy? And over there is Matt Cain and shit, and we're like, hey, what's up, buddy? He's
Yeah.
Hi. We're like, yeah, but honestly,
so
he
weird.
did that day. He had a base hit that mattered.
No,
He did.
he
He
had a hit or
did
something.
contribute something that night. I remember. I remember that's part of why the two of you singled
Yeah.
him out. But
Like,
I have
he
to ask
had
you,
a
Willie.
base hit, and then we were like, yeah, obviously we got to talk to this guy. And he
Does
was
this make you a Rangers fan though now? Because are you infatuated with Matt Duffy forever now?
Oh yeah, by the way, yeah. Ty, you got to be a fan of Matt Duffy now.
No, I
Matt
hate the
Duffy's the
Rangers.
man. Matt Duffy is the
Fuck the
man.
Rangers.
No, I really don't like the Rangers. I hate, except for the Mavericks, being a Central Texas
But what
raised
about
person, I hate the Dallas sports teams.
What about? Really?
I'll be a Giants fan. Actually, nah. Well, maybe.
Oh come on, man!
If
You've been on
Pence
our
is still there-
podcast.
if
You gotta
Pence is
keep
What
still
an eye
about
on
there-
when Hunter Pence
He's
was
here
a,
now.
was
If
a-
Pence
was
is
a-
here now.
still there, I'm always going to be
Hunter
on board.
Pence is
Okay,
a
you'll
He'll
giant.
be
You
there.
are
He signed
right
a
now.
major league contract.
Hunter Pence is a giant again, by the way, and that's.
I know. I was very excited.
Yeah.
I watched his stream. It was funny. I watched his stream a couple days in a row, and I felt bad for him because it was just it was when he was kind of in between. He was kind of still in free agency, I guess. And people go, "Where you going, bro? Where you going?" And he was just I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
And
He's
then,
back.
By the way, he's a fun guy to interview. He is
Yeah.
so
Such
energetic.
a cool dude. Ugh.
So cool. I talked to him about video games and pop culture and everything aside from baseball, to be honest. He just loves to open up about all that stuff. He's one of my favorite interviews of all time. He's fantastic.
Yeah, my mom and her wife are not very technologically advanced, and so I was kind of explaining to them this whole Twitch thing, and it was cool because I jumped on the chat and I basically just sent a little message of hey, Heather and Betty, lifelong fans, say hello, blah blah blah, and he read it out loud and said something, and I showed it to them, and that just blew their minds, and it was such a cool moment for them watch it and be like, did he say our names? And I was like, yeah, this is the internet, this is how this works.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's
he's a badass.
he's fucking good at video games too, I've noticed.
He is. He plays Magic and he plays all the games.
I watch him play Realm Royale and he's actually pretty good.
All right, Chad, you got this recorded?
Yeah, I do. It's all gonna be.
I
Wait,
think we
no.
might want to cut some.
Can we
things
back it up and
around
re-record this?
I mean,
Let's take it from the top.
I'm
there's
just
all-
making sure.
From the top.
Just
there's
making
nothing
sure.
wrong with the discussion we're having, but
I'm just
No,
making
not
sure.
at all.
I mean, shit,
No,
I'm chilling.
this is going to be on TortureCast.com. We'll just put, obviously put the links on TortureCast or on Twitter at TortureCast and, of course, Facebook.com/TortureCast.
I mean,
Other
I'm
than
gonna
that,
retweet
yeah,
all the
take it
things,
away.
so, yeah. What are you talking about?
I'm
I'm
hearing some
wait,
lighters.
thank you.
I'm hearing some weed. I'm hearing some
All
stuff.
right, this is a
who are you
great.
kicking it to here?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me. I would love to come back. It's nice to talk to some level-headed baseball fans who
Yeah,
understand
Yeah, we
where I'm
didn't
coming
eviscerate
from.
Astros, right?
The Giants and the
We-
Astros have a
no.
lot in common. We've been through a lot of similar things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate knowing that there's people that don't want to punch us.
This is
I
a
gotta
great
say,
episode of the
I think
TortureCast. Sorry,
this
go
might
ahead.
have opened our eyes. This might have opened our eyes. I don't know about you, Chad, but I think especially because of the suspension of the season and the fact that we're all going to be stuck in our homes soon, maybe we'll do some live streaming shows or something like that to pass the time, because there are literally, like we've mentioned, there's literally no sports.
Yep.
So. No, now that we've done this live stream, I know my computer sucks, but
Yeah, I thought, in the beginning that all these sports were going to be canceled, but my kids, were still going to be going to school or whatever. Nope, they've, been canceled. Their sports have been canceled. Their school has been canceled. Sports have been canceled. So it's like, yeah, Daddy's going to podcast while you.
So as a parent, and
iPad.
as somebody who's, you said like scientist, you're obviously very knowledgeable and all these things, more than us. How do you feel about the kind of problem that people are presenting of, as the kids get off, the nurses have to like take off, kind of like weird.
He still has to dive into a Shark Tank.
Yeah, I do. No, though, by the way, the Monterey Bay Aquarium, where I do those feeding shows, closed today for a minimum of 2
no
weeks.
way.
Yeah, just today. So
can the shark
feeding show is canceled.
coronavirus?
No more Shark
I know,
Tanks.
right?
Did you hear that dogs have been cleared? Dogs can't carry it.
Woohoo!
Dogs
Can't
can't
carry
carry
it, which is good because we have a dog.
Iggy,
That's a
come
good
here.
thing.
Iggy,
Yeah,
come
and
here.
Iggy can't. Yeah, exactly. That's a great
Yes.
thing. No, it's interesting, because what's going on right now with with this virus. I can't say what's going to happen. We just can't expose the elderly to what's going on right now. So
Why would we?
it's hard. It's hard. It's it's affecting so much of our lives, and you just we got to do what we got to do. Wash your hands. Take it simple. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
No,
go.
for sure.
There you go.
It's
All right. I'm gonna play
scary,
some Hearthstone on the way out.
well, yeah. Again, thanks for having me, guys. It was really,
Yeah, thank
really
you,
nice
Ty.
to talk to you
Pleasure.
guys.
Good meeting you, Ty.
Yeah, I'd love to come back